shadows fall, dimming the light. Whispers grow, a rising tide. Vindicator, where do you hide? Steel is over, heart ablaze. Through smoky haze, he sets his gaze. Justice calls a burning need. A city's wounds he vows to heed. From cobbled streets to tower high, Vindicator takes to the sky. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Whispers turn to thunderous roar. As shadows creep, he slams the door on tyranny's cruel, grasping hand. He fights for freedom, takes a stand with courage born of darkest night. He ignites hope, a guiding light. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Though battles rage and darkness reigns, hope's ember burns within his veins. He'll never yield, he'll never fall. He answers freedom's clarion call. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. A symbol etched against the moon. Vindicator rising soon.
Hello, everybody. How you all doing? Hope you're doing great. So, apologies this morning for no morning walk video. The matter is, right, that sometimes I've got nothing to talk about. So rather than just make some filler video that is rubbish, I'd just rather not make a video because I don't believe in that. Just putting content out for the sake of putting content out. It would be rubbish. I won't be happy with it. And, I'd rather put out videos that actually make a point and, make people think. I just didn't have anything this morning. I really didn't. So it's like, yeah, I'm not doing one this morning. That's the way I roll. As I said, my granddad always told me, he said, if you've got nothing to say, don't speak. And that's the way audio is, poor mate. Okay. I think it's the echo in here. There's a bit of an echo. We've moved things around a little bit, so it's going to be echo. Sorry about that. Turn that down a little bit. Is that better? Is that better? Give me a thumbs up if the audio's a little bit better now. I've turned down the sound on the microphone. Is that a little bit better? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Nice one. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of an echo because we've moved the living room around a little bit. Once it's all sorted, I'll put a picture on the community section so you can see it all. We've got the Christmas tree up. We've got decorations and stuff going up. So yeah, it's going to be great. So if you don't know, I was on the Dino Bane live stream yesterday with Angry Bootneck and I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Robert somebody. I don't know who that guy was really. I've never really heard of that guy. But yeah, it was an interesting live stream. I wasn't really active in the live stream. I've got to be honest. I watched it back. I wasn't really that active in it. It's hard when you've got 4 people in a live stream to get your point across because you don't want to interrupt people and you kind of hold back a little bit. I would love to have that Robert guy on my live stream sometime because I think we could have a decent debate about things. I agree with a lot of what he said. I disagreed with a few things that he said. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. It's just the way things are. It's StreamYard. Well, it doesn't say it's lagging on my screen anyway, so it must be on your end. Yeah, it says this, usually I get a weak signal signal at the top, and it tells me if things are lagging. It's not lagging on my end, so it must be your end. No problem. We try to accommodate everybody. There's nothing I can do about the lag. It's just the internet, unfortunately. Right, let's get into things. So, I don't normally talk about this because I don't talk about international politics because it doesn't affect us. I'm not interested in it. The only thing I'm interested in is getting our country and actions that we can do to get our country back. That's what I'm interested in. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Ukraine first off, because we are involved in that. I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be involved in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I think it's between them, and we should keep ourselves out of it. The reason we're involved in it is because European leaders have got dirty little money laundering schemes going through Ukraine, and they don't want it exposed. And if Russia takes Ukraine, all their dirty little secrets are going to get exposed. That's why they're so interested in continuing the war with Ukraine and Russia. I have to agree, totally agree with you. Ukraine is finished. And the thing is, Western leaders don't know it. The minute, I've said this yesterday, the minute the US withdraws weapons and intelligence to Ukraine, that war is over. It's over now. Russia will just march on up into Kiev and take it. Exactly. And we all saw the news headlines, the BBC, all the mainstream media before the Ukraine war was telling us how much of a corrupt country the Ukraine was. And then we had Boris Johnson and the rest of them banging on about, we've got to protect Ukraine's sovereignty. And it's like, Zelensky is an absolute scumbag, corrupt scumbag, bought and paid for by the globalists. That's who Zelensky is. Right, let's get into it. So look at some of the stuff on Ukraine. Bit chilled back. This is always chilled back. The Vindicated Strikes Back Straight Talking. For all those that are new to the channel, this is just a chill back, just chat with you, the audience, and that sort of thing. We can discuss things, and anything that you want to discuss, we can discuss as well. So this just pops up straight away. If we don't sort out Britain's mass migration crisis, it will trigger a total breakdown in race relations. That's already happening. It's already happening. He notes the country's most deprived areas have been treated as asylum seeker dumping grounds for decades. Indeed, a toxic environment. Yeah, there are areas in this country that are just done. They're done. Absolutely done. And there's nothing we can do about getting those back. We'll look at that in a bit. So we'll have a look at Macron's take on Ukraine at the minute. That little shit. So this is what Emmanuel Macron had to say about the Ukraine incident. Together with our European and G7 partners, we welcome the United States' efforts to bring peace to Ukraine. It shows one thing: everybody wants peace except Russia. I wouldn't say that. I think Russia wants peace. I think they want peace. I think they just want Ukraine to accept a peace deal, and they will stop the war. But because these maniacs want a war with Russia, they've got to paint Russia as the demon, haven't they? Which continues to stubbornly bomb Ukraine. But isn't Ukraine also bombing Russia The war hasn't stopped. They're mad, aren't they? They do know what a war is, don't they? You know, one attacks the other one attacks back. That's how war works. So the way he's framed this here is, it shows one thing: everyone wants peace except Russia, which continues to stubbornly bomb Ukraine. It's like they're in the middle of a war, mate. That's how wars work. They lob bombs at each other until, you know, they go to the peace table and they work out a peace deal, which is what they're trying to do at the minute. The war still continues, yeah, until a peace deal is signed, until a ceasefire is put into place. The 28-point proposal must be strengthened. No border can be changed by force. And these is coming from the people because they all echo the same thing. This is coming from people who can't maintain their own strong borders to protect their own people, but are insisting that Ukraine has a strong border. Interesting, that, isn't it? Very interesting. They don't care, by the way. They don't care about Ukraine's borders. All they care about is their money laundering scheme and how the end of the war will affect that if Russia takes over Ukraine, because all their dirty little secrets are going to get exposed, and that's what they're worried about. So look at the chat. How are you doing? Good afternoon. BlackRock will rebuild the Ukraine and make it diverse hellhole like England. Yes, definitely. That's definitely going to happen, isn't it? We're going to have a look at that in a bit as well. Looking a bit of... Hey, Craig, how you doing? The greatest GoFundMe of all time. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can tell who the evil people are in all of this just by who is supporting the war with Russia, who wants Ukraine to carry on fighting. You can tell who the evil people are. Camilla Harris, Tony Blair, all the usual suspects, all of them. Evil people. They're willing to sacrifice an entire country of people to maintain their agenda and to keep sticking it to Russia, who they want a war with. Evil people. They don't care. You know, Ukraine can sacrifice its last citizens as far as they're concerned. They're not the compassionate ones. If they were really compassionate, they would be pushing for this peace deal. And let's look at this, right? So Ukraine was offered a better peace deal way back in 2022 when Boris Johnson went over to Ukraine and basically torpedoed that peace deal. A peace deal that was being brokered by Turkey in Istanbul. And they didn't want that peace deal. They didn't want the war to end. They wanted it to continue. Why? Because of we pointed this out in the live stream yesterday, in Dan O'Bain's live stream. There's a triangle. Taxpayer money goes to the munitions factories, the weapons developers. Then money from the weapons developers, manufacturers, goes back to the MPs. So it's a nice little triangle. It's a nice little triangle of money laundering. That's how this works. They all get backhanders. They're all making lots of money from the war in Ukraine. That's why they don't want it to stop. It's nothing to do with the Ukrainian people or protecting Ukraine. It's got everything to do with keeping that money on the side flowing into them. That's what it's all about. Ukraine apparently have run out of regular army. Yet they have. They haven't got a regular army anymore. The only people you see on the front line now are old men, the disabled, and young boys that have never fought a war in their lives. They're all being press ganged by the Ukrainian police to fight a war, which they're not qualified to fight. They're not qualified to fight a war. They're not trained to fight that war. I believe life expectancy on the front line is 4 hours. From what I've heard, and this is estimates from yesterday, they lose about 2,000 to 3,000 people a week on the front line. Now, Russia can absorb its losses because it's got a massive army. It's got a massive standing army of 1 million troops. It can afford to absorb losses. Ukraine can't. It's a small country with a small army, and it's over. The war is over. As somebody pointed out in the chat, I think it was one of my videos the other day, that nobody wins a war against Russia in the winter. They are winter warfare fighters. That's their best time to wage a war. They will win it. They will win a war. And look at Ukraine. If its infrastructure is collapsing, most of its power infrastructure has gone. They're heading into a very cold winter. And they're fighting a war on multiple fronts with no troops. And very soon, no ammunition, no weapons or anything. They're going to lose, and they're going to lose badly. And like I was saying before I got on my tangent, the peace deal in Istanbul was a lot better than the one they're being offered now. And there's a good reason for that. It's because they've lost their bargaining position now. Ukraine is on the cusp of defeat. This is basically a surrender deal that the Russians are offering, that the Americans and Russia are offering, that have, brokered the deal, because Russia says, why should I give any concessions? These people are about to lose the war. Either surrender or we just take the whole country. Which is the better option? All these idiots coming out of the woodwork and saying, oh, we're proud of our country, we're going to keep fighting. Half of them, by the way, don't even reside in the Ukraine. And that thanks to Elon Musk's new element, where you can see where a lot of these accounts originate from. A lot of them are in Hong Kong. Wonder who could be controlling those accounts. A lot of them from the US, a lot of them Indonesia, all over the world. None of them really in the Ukraine that I've noticed. So that's very, very telling of things that are going on. Yeah, seen the videos of kidnapping family men to fight in a war that was horrific. Yeah, don't forget, it's a life expectancy of 4 hours on the front line. Imagine the horror. Imagine the horror of that. I totally agree, Craig. Vin, we should have kept out the situation with Ukraine and Russia. Definitely, we shouldn't have been involved in it. But because our country is part of the globalist network that wants to control the world, we are involved. They've involved us. It stopped lagging my end a while ago. Well, I've got no sign on my internet. Usually when it's lagging, I'll get a little internet sign above where it shows the view account, and there's nothing there. So I'm not lagging. So must be something in between. This is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Zelensky is complicit. Yeah. And where do you think he'll go? Where do you think he'll go? Do you think he'll be like Churchill? Because Churchill would have stayed with the country and fought with the last man. Zelensky won't. He'll probably leg it to South America, somewhere like that, where they can't touch him. But they'll get him. Russia will get him. They'll have one of their agents inject him with some radioactive material, and that's the last you'll see of that guy. They'll get him. It doesn't matter how much money Zelensky gets. It doesn't matter how much security that he pays for. That man is a dead man walking in Russia's eyes. He is. And we all know what's going to happen. They'll find him dead somewhere. Most likely made to look like an accident. They'll probably find him dead in his car, coked up out of his mind. And we'll all know what happened. It would have been Russia. They've offed him, won't they? So that guy's never going to escape. He's never going to escape Russia. It's just a matter of time. There's nowhere he can hide. Now, Zelensky's have a 2 million apartment in Jerusalem. That won't save them. That won't save them at all. He's marked. He's a marked man. Zelensky is. He probably doesn't realize it. He probably thinks his European friends will save him. They won't. They'll throw him under the bus at the first opportunity to save their own necks. Send the migrants coming into this country to the front line of Ukraine and Russia. No, just send them back home. We don't need to send them anywhere else. Just send them back home. It's where they need to go. Right, let's continue looking at this. The 28-point proposal must be strengthened. No border can be changed by force, and Ukraine must never be left vulnerable. It's funny they should say that, isn't it? But he's quite willing to leave his own country vulnerable to illegal invaders that are destroying his country. But we must make sure that Ukraine strengthens its border and has an intact border All very strange. Of course, they don't mean it. That they don't mean a word of it. None of it at all. This is all about money laundering, like I said before. Any decision involving the European Union and NATO must have the consent of their members. What is this? What has the war with Ukraine and Russia got to do with NATO and the EU? As the last time I looked, Ukraine wasn't a member of the EU or NATO. So why should they be consulted? I'm just saying. We will continue to coordinate closely with Kiev and Washington. Our collective support for Ukraine is decisive. The security and freedom of all Europe are at stake, yet you leave your borders wide open, just like our country is. Our borders are wide open, so that's a load of rubbish. Absolute load of twaddle. That's just globalist doublespeak, in my opinion. All that rubbish, isn't it? That's all that is. Here we go. There you go. This is what it's really all about, isn't it? There you go, Zelensky. Keep taking the money, and what will happen is they'll keep giving him the money to buy the munitions, and then all that will come around in a nice big circle back to these people, all nicely laundered and into their back pocket. All of our hard-earned money that we have to pay in tax, this is where it's all going. It's all going to this, and then he'll spend it on munitions, and it'll get laundered and come back to these people and line the back pockets. That's what that's all about. Everybody gets it. Everybody can see through the absolute bullshit that these people peddle. Everybody knows it's rubbish. Kiev officially halts peace talks with Moscow, Ukraine. Yeah, exactly. And yet Macron was saying Russia doesn't want peace. It does want peace. It wants to end the war. Obviously, all the Trump haters. This was said in the live stream yesterday as well, that traditionally the left is very anti-war and would be out on the streets demonstrating against war. Yet the left, the new left now, is pro-war. It's pro-pharmaceutical companies. It's pro-big corporations. Strange that, isn't it? Very strange. Very strange. It's almost like it's just controlled opposition, isn't it? This snake, absolute snake, Tony Blair. In fact, we'll watch this. I was going to do a video about this, but we'll watch this now. I'll just check the chat because I like to keep engaging with the audience as well. Right. Not sitting well, but that's where his family is. Yeah. If the Russians want to get to him, Steve, they'll get to him, won't they? Vin, I am okay, thank you. My girlfriend's dad is coming back to the UK to get him right. Okay. Okey-dokey. Yes, he has. Couldn't agree more. Yep. The new left are pro-Islam as well. Yep. You think they'd be totally against an ideology that treats its women as second-class citizens, wouldn't you? But no, they embrace it. They want women to be oppressed by the burqa and the hijab. This is an interesting thing, right? Western feminists go absolutely berserk about what they call the Western patriarchy. They go insane about that sort of stuff. But they're perfectly fine with Islamic patriarchy, where the men suppress the women. They're perfectly okay with that. That's fine. That's okay. They're okay with the morality police in Iran that go around beating people and women for not wearing the hijab or the burqa. They're perfectly fine with that. Yep. They're perfectly okay with an ideology that hangs homosexuals, that throws them off buildings. They're perfectly okay with that. It's just mental. These people are insane. Absolutely mental people. Yeah, they did, Steve. They did. There's nowhere he can hide. And do you really think Israel is going to stop Russia from offing Zelensky. They're not going to give two craps. They're just going to let them do it. They'll probably get Mossad to do it for them. Yeah, it's all hypocritical. Right, let's watch the snake, Tony Blair. Right, so this is the backstory. So Andrew Bridgen. Watch Tony Blair challenged over his meetings with the Bilderberg Group. See the fear in Tony Blair's eyes. The Bilderberg Group meets in secret, and their doctrine is originated in 1953. Silent weapons for quiet wars is a script for subjugation, control, and gaslighting of humanity. Let's not forget that regularly David Lammy and Michael Gove get invited to these Bilderberg Group meetings as well. Just saying.
Hey, Mr. Blair, do you enjoy fooling all these people? Huh? Do you enjoy fooling all these people with your New World Order? We know you're an abomination of evil. We know you care nothing about these people, you monster. Blair.
Look at the way he squirmed. He was really squirming at the end there, wasn't it? Let's get that bit again. Watch him squirm. That says it all. That says it all, doesn't it? Squirming snake. I hate that guy with a passion. He's literally the embodiment of evil, Tony Blair. He really is. Look at that. Look how many people he caused to be killed in Iraq because of his false intelligence about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. All those people, American, Iraqis, British troops, just slaughtered for their agenda. Makes me sick. He's a war criminal. The guy should be in prison. He should be in prison. Take care, everyone. Got to go out. See you later. Thanks for coming along. I heard a story about Blair being caught in a men's toilet dressed up as a woman in his student days. I heard that as well. Obviously, you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt unless you've got evidence to prove it, but I heard that too. So let's look at this one. This is another one that I wanted to look at as well. Is this actually on the screen? Yeah, it is. That's all right. Right. A British woman was brutally assaulted while in the hospital. She texted her friend to vent and referred to the man who assaulted her as a faggot. Her friend reported her to the police for homophobia. She has now been convicted of a hate crime. This actually happened. This is it. Assault victim is convicted of hate crime after she branded attacker a faggot in text messages telling a friend how she'd been beaten up. Well, for one thing, that's not a friend, is it? Friends don't do that to the friends. That's the state of the country, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. That's no friend. But this is the state of our justice system as well, isn't it? That they think that's important, that the CPS thought that was an important thing to prosecute. World's insane. These are basically, all these bookmark things are basically ideas for videos that I had that I've decided not to go. Right, this is another good one as well. Right, so this one here, Matt Goodwin. 75% of all people who run our public institutions support the political left. Just think about that. 3/4 of all decision makers and influencers in our public bodies lean to the left. Well, we all know this, don't we? They've all been infiltrated by the far left. But we know, don't we? You have to look at institutions like Ofcom, even the job centre, the Department of Work and Pensions. You look at all that kind of stuff, the NHS, every single part of our infrastructure, every part of the civil service is basically left-leaning. And that's for good reason. It's because it's been infiltrated by the Fabians, who act as gatekeepers. They get into positions of power, and then they only promote people who support their ideology, who are just as socialist as they are. And that's how all of our institutions have been corrupted for decades because of this practice. They've been slowly moving their people into positions of power, just like a game of chess. Said this before, and the proof is undeniable. You cannot deny the proof of your eyes, can you? 75% of all people who run public institutions support the political left. We know this. We know this because they show their political bias all the time, don't they? Look at pro bono human rights lawyers that don't take up the cases of people on the right who have their human rights violated by the government and the police. The cases aren't taken up is because those lawyers are compromised. They are left-leaning, and they don't care about people on the rights, human rights being violated, because that's a good thing for them and their ideology. This is the thing we're facing. And this is a question I asked in a live stream yesterday. And this is why I'd like to get that Robert guy on my live stream and have a chat with him. Because I brought up the fact, because he was saying we have to believe in the system. He said the system still works. And I said, right, so how do we take back institutions and the systems that have been infiltrated? And as you can see, 75%. 75%. So how do we take those institutions back? And I said, we can't do it. We don't have a political solution for 3.5 years. So how do we take them back? And he just says, we take it back. But how do we take it back? None of us are in parliament. None of us are in places of power to take back these institutions. So he says you have to utterly destroy them. But how do you utterly destroy them? When the far left act as gatekeepers, and if anybody, they have given a sniff of anybody being right wing, they don't rise through the ranks. They probably don't even get hired. So how do you take back these institutions? And he says you have to utterly destroy them. The Robert guy in the live stream yesterday, he says you have to utterly destroy them. And I said to him, well, the only way you can utterly destroy these institutions is by physical force. So there is no political solution, is there? And this is what I mean. This is the circular reasoning that annoys me so much. It's all well getting on your soapbox and saying we have to stop being apologetic and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, what are your solutions? How do we take these things back? And he just didn't give one. It's just that we do it. Well, that's not an answer. We need, this is why I get tired of people like this. It's like, we need concrete solutions. This isn't a time for just word salad. We need direct action. We need positive solutions and concrete solutions to the problems we're facing. Not just saying, oh, we'll do it. Yeah, that's great. That's great on paper. But the reality of it is, it's not a solution, is it? It's not a path. It's not how do we do it. And this is what annoys me about people that still think the system works. It doesn't. It doesn't work for us at all. It's broken, and you cannot fix the system by using the broken system. And this is why I've got my issues with Rupert Lowe as well, when he's trying to do this cross-party coalition with MPs in Parliament. Parliament is compromised. Those MPs are most likely compromised too. So any progress that he thinks he's making, those MPs that are involved with him, they're probably just there as a roadblock to slow him down, to stop him making progress, because that's how our parliament works now. It doesn't work for us, the people, anymore. It doesn't. It's completely and utterly broken. We can see it for ourselves. I mean, for the first time, I said this in the live stream yesterday as well. For the first time in about, 10 years, I watched Parliament live. And it was like watching a pantomime. It was like watching school children argue in Parliament. It was shocking. Prime Minister's question times are a joke. We all know that it's all scripted now. It's scripted by the civil servants. The Prime Minister knows weeks in advance which questions are going to be asked of him. He can prepare a response, and he's prepared for it. That's not how it should be done. They should go into Parliament. He should be unprepared. He shouldn't know what questions are going to be asked of him, so that he gives an honest answer. And we see his honest reaction. It should be like it used to be. Like anybody in the House of Parliament can ask the Prime Minister a question. It doesn't matter how long it takes. That's their job. Their job is to be in Parliament and be accountable to the people of this country. So if every single MP in that Parliament wants to ask the Prime Minister a question, that should be it. And the session shouldn't end until every single MP has had the opportunity to ask the Prime Minister a question. That's how I think about things. That's how I think it should be done. That's their job. We pay them to do that job. There shouldn't be just a selection of questions that he chooses to answer. That's not how you hold a government to account, any government to account for that matter. If they have to start a session of Parliament and Prime Minister's question time starts at 9 in the morning and it doesn't finish till 10 at night, so be it. Yeah, they can break for dinner. They're there to serve us, the public. Well, they should be, but they don't. I know, but no one is coming up with a solution to this. No, they're not. I think we all know what the solution is, but we can't say it online because otherwise we'll get a knock at the door from the police. I think it's on everybody's mind. Everybody knows what needs to be done in this country, but nobody can say it because our free speech has been curtailed to such a point that any sign of dissent or aggression towards this present government will be clamped down upon. We all know what needs to happen, I think. There are peaceful solutions. I've mentioned this before, but they just won't work because not enough people will get behind them. I have offered up solutions in the past. Sadiq Khan is just a worst avoiding answers to questions. Yeah, exactly. He hasn't explained why young Ukrainian men have been firebombing his property and the media has gone quiet. Yeah, exactly. He's got protection from the media. The media are not a free press. It's just a left-wing propaganda machine. I didn't know about that. He got arrested for cutting, but never charged. Is anyone surprised? No. So that explains everything, doesn't it? Really, that 75% of all people who run our public institutions support the political left. That's not a surprise to me one little bit. So obviously that's all the mainstream media coming out and crying because Trump is brokering a peace deal. They don't want peace. And then we've got this. European leaders voice concerns over US plan to end Ukraine war. Of course they do. Because what's going to happen? What's going to happen? All their money that's going into their back pocket is going to dry up. That's why they're concerned. They don't give a toss about the Ukrainian people. They don't. All they care about is all the illegal money, all the laundered money that's going into their bank accounts. That's all they care about. So we're going to go on to a different story now, something completely different. So I wanted to highlight this, right, because this is interesting. I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to go to this. So Zara Hussain, Muslim mother who claimed asylum in the UK. I have a problem with Islamophobia and the far right. Really? Let's just have a look and see where she's actually from, because we can actually check now. Let's see if she's actually from the UK. Well, account based in the UK, yeah, so that's good. 2 username changes connected. So she's actually from the country. That's a good thing. At least you know she's actually from the country. Many of these people actually aren't, by the way. But it's good to know she actually is. The UK and the England flag cult. Imagine being called that, right, in your own country for raising your own national flag. Imagine being called a member of a cult, which is ironic, really, when, since the fact that she's actually a Muslim and she's calling other people for being part of a cult. But less said about that, the better. Hey, the UK and England flag cult are back in South Shields. They are protesting against houses of multiple occupancy and intimidating asylum seekers. They're not asylum seekers. They're illegal immigrants. Nobody wants undocumented, mainly fighting age men in their communities. That's what they're protesting against. We've seen what happens. We've seen what happens to the local women in the area. They're afraid to go out at night. They get sexually assaulted, that sort of thing. That's why these people are protesting. And this highlights the issue in this country. When you have people like this, obviously a foreigner, I can call her a foreigner because she hasn't integrated. She hasn't integrated into our society. How do I know that? Because she calls raising our national flag in our own country cultish behavior. These people are the problem. And if you don't like our country, if you don't like the fact that we raise the flag and the fact that we protest against undocumented, illegal fighting age men being put in our communities, I suggest you leave the country. Yes, leave the country. Go to a country that suits your ideology better than this country. Because like I said in a video on this channel, we are not changing for you. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's have a look at the chat. Hey mate, how you doing? I got your message, by the way. I've just not listened to it yet. I'll listen to it later, mate. I'm so glad I'm not on X. Yeah, you'll be. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Then they tell you that. Put this on screen. Then they tell the government have bought 200 hours in Durham and are in process of buying 50 more. And we're getting 600 migrants in the area. Wow. And then they wonder why people are protesting against this. Yeah, exactly. From the Palestine waving flag enjoyers. Yeah, it's a joke, isn't it? Obviously, they're not cult members for doing that. That's a worthy cause, isn't it, Martin? I know I'm right. The girl who acted as my sister was a part-time with a firm who defended him. I don't know what that's about. No rush, pal. Durham reform, isn't it? Yeah. What is that? I meant to cover that story as well. What's the story of the Reform Council that has decided to take down the flags because they want to put up Christmas decorations? And I sent him a message saying, why can't you do both? Why can't you have the Union flag, St George's Cross up at the same time you've got Christmas decorations up? At the minute, crickets. It's getting so bad, I don't work much now after dark. I only do my regulars. I've been threatened so many times. It's unreal. Wow. Taxi, I take it on your route then, mate. That's really, really bad. I wish I knew they were in South Shields, but I'm not on X yet. Yeah, unfortunately, Steve's been banned from there, haven't you, mate? Right, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at what the globalists have taken from us, shall we? This is how we used to be. This was 1945 England. This is how we were in 1945. I'll play this in its entirety. This was celebrating the end of the war, by the way. Look at the streets. Look at the streets clean. Because this was a time when people looked after their communities. They would come out, they would scrub the part of the pavement in front of their house, and they would keep it clean and tidy. They would sweep up the pavement. The whole community would get together, and they would keep the area tidy. That's how these people were. This is our strength. This is community. This is what we don't have anymore, and this is what we need to get back to. This is what I want to see. When I talk about getting the country back, this is what I want to see. Community spirit like this, because that's our strength. That's where our strength lies. They've been having a fit, wouldn't they? The lack of diversity. Imagine that, the lack of diversity in a majority white country. Oh no. Right, look at that, look, right? These people have just been through a world war, and they look happier than most people that are on the streets right now. Because their strength comes from them all being in the same boat together. That's where the strength comes from. It's a shared community. That's what makes them strong. They've probably been some really hardships, yet they can still come out and celebrate like this. No sign of depression or anything like that, is there? Because they all look after one another. They're not isolated. They're not alone. And look at that community spirit. They would have all have got together. They would have all made, each one of them would have made some sort of contribution to this event. They would have made sandwiches, baked cakes, that sort of thing. They would have all come together as a community. And that's what we've lost in this country. That's what's allowed them to do the things that they're doing to this country right now. Because if we still had this, they wouldn't be able to get away with half the things they get away with. They wouldn't. So that was that. What do you guys think to that? Let's help us in the chat. This is Bath in Bristol. Okay, yeah. Capricorn Moon is live in Durham. Okay. Anyone going to watch Steve Law's on Liam Tuss podcast this evening? That'll be an interesting watch. I don't always agree with Stephen Laws, but it'll be an interesting watch. What, the far right weren't around then? No, of course they weren't, Steve. No such thing as the far right then, mate. There was no need to demonise patriots back then, was there? But I noticed that in Northern Ireland in the 1970s, loyalist areas, clean steps, washed nationalist areas, shitholes. It's proof of history. You need to keep the clip. Yeah, definitely. We had it in the 70s and 80s too. We did, and it was slowly eroded away. Pressure builds until something breaks, and then we move to the next point. Exactly. My mum used to polish our front brass door knocker and step to our house. Yeah. If you look at any old footage of working class areas from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, like someone just said, even to the 80s, my grandma, she used to go out and sweep the street in front of the house. That's what she used to do. It was taking pride in your local community. But this is a time when we had local police officers. There was a community police station at the top of the road for the community, and there would be a local policeman sat in there 24 hours a day. So if you had any issues, you just went up and spoke to him. When he wasn't on patrol, he'd leave a little sign. I can remember he used to leave a little sign in the window saying, "I'm out on patrol." Walking around the neighborhood, making sure things were all right. Don't get that anymore now. And that's what we've lost as well. That's why so much mistrust is put in the police now, is because people just don't know them. I can count on one hand the last time I saw police patrolling my local area on their own, on foot. It must have been about 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Then the problem is we are changing for them. Some people are. I'm definitely not changing for them. I'm sure you're not either. None of us are changing for them. Yes, most plod realise their duty was to stop fly tipping. Try telling plod to do that now. Exactly, yeah. I mean, some of the things they used to do probably wasn't in their mandate as police officers, but they did it because they liked their community. And you know what? Most of them actually lived in their community, because above the police station would be houses, would be a house or a house next to the police station where the local community police officer would live. So they would live in the community that they were policing. That's how they knew everybody. That's how they got the trust of the local police, of the local people. The police are dog shit. Yeah, they have. Sadly, that's how they've become. We don't want it to be like that. I want to be able, you know what? I want to be able to be proud of our police force again, but we're not going to get it until they get rid of this diversity, equity, and inclusion rubbish out of the police force, until they sack all these woke chief constables and return us to normality, return us to policing how it used to be. I've covered this before in live streams where I said get rid of all the arrest quotas, because that's just insensitizing any arrest. Any arrest is arrest just to keep your arrest levels up. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have an arrest quota, because that's just wide open to abuse. That puts police officers under pressure to arrest people when really they shouldn't. That's not a fair system, is it? Although we criticise the police a hell of a lot, you've got to understand sometimes their position that they're in. Majority of them are probably good police officers that don't want to be doing what they're doing. They thought they signed up for something that was completely different to what they got. That's why we have thousands upon thousands leaving every month, because it wasn't what they signed up for. They thought they'd be protecting the community and the public, and it turns out they're just acting as a private security firm for the government. That's why a lot are leaving. I learned to spot pigs because they follow you around with metal detectors. Yeah. My inspector told me that in his day, is a dead cat was lying on your beat when the kids went, you'd front of a sea supper. Red line charge. Okay. I don't know what that is. Vin, the area where I live is a local MP. Vin, in the area where I live, the local MP is Labour. Well, that explains a lot. So's mine. Mine's a Labour MP, unfortunately. So when people say, write to your local MP and, you know, get him to do something. Mine's Toby Perkins, probably the most useless MP, Labour MP out there. Yeah, right. Right, guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Everyone wants to come in for a little bit of a chat. Can do. Otherwise, I'm just going to go because we're coming to the hour mark. Right, let's copy. I want to try and get some, if I can, I want to try and get somebody that's never been in before to come and have a chat, if I can. Let's get some of you guys coming in. Yeah, links in the chat, let you come in. I'll give you a few minutes to decide whether you want to come in or not. Well, guys, I'm looking at my subscriber count. We're just 6 subscribers away from being at 6,000 subscribers, which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. 6 subscribers away from being, let's have a look at that actually, from being on the 6,000 mark. No, I won't look at that actually. Let me get, stop sharing that. We'll stop sharing that. I'll, this. Anybody wants to come in, you can do. We'll have a look at this first though. Right, get this on the screen. YouTube. What do you all think about the government announcing that it's freezing rail fares? What do you think about that? Anybody got any views on that? What do you think about that they're doing? So, it's gone up. We are only 2 away. We're 2 away from being on 6,000 subscribers. 2 subscribers away. I'm going to stay on and see if we get 6,000 while I'm on still live. Well, that's amazing. Right, I'll share this with you guys. It's a big achievement for this channel. Really, 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 really achievement. We're just 2 subscribers away from being on 6,000 subscribers. That's amazing. So we'll look. Here we go. There we go. As you can see, 5,998. That's amazing. I know, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that is already subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Like I said, it's you guys that make the channel what it is. Rail fares are way too high as it is. They are. They don't want freezing. They want rolling back, don't they? To make travel. Nice one, buddy. Like again, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate it. Let's refresh it and see if we're do a refresh. Whoa, that's it. We are on 5,999. So who's going to be that one person that takes us to 6,000 subscribers? Who's going to do it? Let's see what happens on the next refresh. Let's see if we're back on the 6,000 subscriber mark. That's amazing. Thanks, buddy. We're going to get you there too, mate. Don't worry about that. We're going to get you there too. Don't forget to go subscribe to 00 News. This is Tom on it. Drop your link in the chat, mate. Go subscribe to Tom as well. Truly deserved content creator as well. Ooh, we're going to get there. So we'll sharing that on there. Yeah, no, it's not. Right, okay, we'll stop sharing that for the time being. We'll come back to that in a bit and see where we are on that in a bit. We'll have a look at some more stories on X, see what else is coming up. They're still pushing that on X about making Ukraine a part of NATO. Absolute joke. Just see if there's any story for us. Share the screen, see any stories we could talk about. Public transport should be free. This is Zara Sultana, the communist. She thinks that public transport should be free. It's not free, is it? Because every time, thanks Steve, Steve's posted a link in the chat, nothing is free. Nothing is free. And this is what these people don't understand. Let's share this. Let's share this. This is communism. This is socialism, isn't it? When they say this sort of stuff. Public transport should be free. It's not free. Just like the NHS isn't free. This is obviously Zara Sultana. Public transport should be free. We're freezing all rail fares for the first time in 30 years, tackling the cost of living and putting money back in people's pockets. They can't afford rail travel as it is, as there's just been pointed out in the chat. They can't afford it now. Let's have a look at some of the comments on here. This is going to be amazing. Mice die in mouse traps because they do not understand why the cheese is free. The same thing happens with socialism. Couldn't have said it better myself. Kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Nothing is free. 5 things socialists will never understand. 1, free does not actually mean free, exactly. 2, you're not entitled to someone else's hard-earned money, correct. 3, you cannot tax a nation into prosperity, true. The rich are not responsible for your financial situation. You are, exactly. 5, socialism leads to communism, always. There's nothing to disagree with that at all, is there? This is from the aged Aquarius. Nothing to disagree with that. Nice one. Apparently, I'm on 6,000. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. See if we're on there. Oh, I've got to share it. Stop sharing that. Start sharing this. We can celebrate live, guys. It's true. If it's true. Let's have a look. Are we on refresh? Yeah, there we are, guys. 6,001 subscribers. I want to thank everybody. This is amazing. Really is amazing for this channel. I'm lost for words, guys. Really am. This is all down to you guys as well for liking, sharing, and liking the content. We're at 6,000. That's just amazing. Can't thank you all enough. Really can't. Old subscribers, new subscribers, the people that have been with me from the very beginning. This is all down to you guys and having faith in this channel and making it what it is. I think my content may have had something to do with it, but it's mainly, it's all right having great content if you haven't got an audience to watch it, and you're the audience and you're amazing. Truly are. I can't be prouder. I really can't be prouder of this. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Tom. Amazing. Now, very good. Thank you. Great achievement. Well done. And thank you. No, thank you. Okay, mate. See you later. Well, that's amazing. That is truly amazing. And obviously, this is from people like Dino Bain, Andy Gabby Cabby and Zero News give me shout outs and stuff like that. They've enabled this as well. So I want to give them a massive thank you and shout out. Irish Dad, he's shared a lot of my videos too. Thank you to everybody that has shared the videos, that's given me a leg up and basically got my content out there, because that's all I really wanted, is to make a difference and try and change the direction of this country and where it's going. That's what I wanted to do. Thanks, buddy. That really means a lot. I think it brought it home when I went to that protest in Sheffield, to the UKIP protest, and I had that lady come up to me and she said, you know, you've made me feel not afraid. And she came to the protest because of my channel, and that meant everything. I'm not trying to big this up or anything. She says, I've come to this protest today because you've made me not feel afraid that anybody can get up and do this. And you can. Anybody can get up and do this. Yeah, that's another thing as well. I want to be an example to people that you can do it. Anybody can do this. All you need is a laptop, a microphone, and you can do the same thing that I'm doing. You really can. You can make a difference. And we need more voices in the movement. We really do. So never give up, never surrender. And thank you to everybody that has made this channel what it is. This is Vindicator signing off.